Here we go. What's up, guys? Welcome. We got a this is like top 10, top five championship team right here. So I'm excited to welcome you guys to Historically Black Since Times Morris Brown presents a hard reset to the resurgent. We're excited to have a powerhouse individuals on this podcast conversation. And I'm ecstatic, super ecstatic to have this amazing conversation with these amazing individuals. Of course, you guys all know who the amazing Dr. James is. But I'm gonna still let him introduce himself, and then we'll go from that to Miss Gumby, and then we'll go to Dr. Allen.
Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Kevin James, and I'm honored to serve as the 19th president of Morris Brown College. I just celebrated 5 years here at Morris Brown as the president, and I'm just elated for this speaker series. This is our last one. 8 weeks of getting to know our faculty, our staff, our alums, our students, our administration, and we're just telling a compelling story here at Morris Brown. We just want to thank you, Archie, for your diligence and for having us on. Thank you for having us.
Of course. Miss Stephanie, please.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Gunby. I'm the Associate VP of Administration and Director of Financial Aid at Morris Brown College. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Dr. Allen.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Allen. I'm the Vice President for Enrollment Management and Student Affairs here at Morris Brown. Been here going a little bit about 3 years. Man, time flies. And very excited to be here and get some great feedback about Morris Brown College and the excellent and exciting things we're doing here.
Amazing. Well, first and foremost, I want to say thank you. Thank you guys for taking time out you guys' busy schedule to jump on here to have a dope conversation, amazing conversation. But before we get into the conversation and kind of recap this 8-week series and talk through the future of Morris Brown, it's Mental Health Month, of course, and a lot of times we don't have these conversations with people of power and leadership, right? So I definitely wanted to open up the space to ask you guys, how are you guys doing? Of course, you guys are building something special. You're growing something special, and I'm sure it takes a lot of hours, a lot of commitment, a lot of pride, right? But at the same time, I think it's important to make sure that you guys are locked into your own safe space and making sure you guys are mentally strong as well. So I wanted to kind of just open this conversation up just briefly. Just say, how y'all doing? Y'all good? You happy? You feeling good? Like, how's the energy?
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll start. I'm doing great. People think that I work all day, every day, and I work a lot, but I don't. I love riding my Harley Davidson motorcycle. I like traveling, working out. I get my mental health, my rest, my relaxation on, and I encourage all of my faculty and staff to do the same. Yes, it's a heavy lift here at Morris Brown College, but it's extremely important that we take care of ourselves.
Right, for sure. Thank you.
I'm doing well. It's a stressful time right now, going through audit and trying to get students awarded and all that. But I try to, as well on the outside, enjoy my family life and try to have a work-family balance, and just try to make it happen.
Right.
I have to totally agree. Let me tell you, I told my students last week before I left, I said, all I want to do, I want to smell some jet fuels. I want to smell some buses and some cars. What y'all going on? But the good thing about it is that it gives us an opportunity to really get caught up on a lot of things, because we're so busy throughout the year once the students here. Then by July, I'm like, okay, I'm ready for them to come back to school, right?
Right.
But this is a time period right now where I'm definitely getting in my mental health. I still play baseball, like Dr. James. I'm in the gym, but for the most part, it's a chance for me to now spend time with my family now,
right?
And kind of get energized. And matter of fact, I just left the new student orientation. We already started now to build the new student orientation week, right?
Right.
So I'm advising my staff. I said, hey, before August gets here, take some break. Take a vacation, get mentally prepared for the new class coming in, and definitely the old was coming back as well too. So I'm in a good place right now.
And I'm glad that you guys are in a good space. And I think sometimes it's important to ask these questions, right? Because we sometimes forget, right? We are all humans at the end of the day, right? We're working hard, we're pushing hard, but it's important to be present, right? And to focus on our health, right? Especially as Black people, most important, right? Mental health is something that we do not um, focus on in the Black community, so it's very important that that people, the viewers, see people of leadership paying attention and focusing on that, right? So I want to kind of get right into it, man. The last 7 weeks have been amazing for me. I was just telling Dr. James that I learned so much about the history of Morris Brown and honestly the passion and the energy. I wasn't surprised, but at the same time, it was heartwarming to just feel that energy coming from the alumni, coming from the students. So my question to you guys is, man, to hear from the alumni perspective, to hear your alumni to speak so highly of Morris Brown in the past, but also speak highly of what you guys are doing right now, how does it make y'all feel?
Well, it makes me feel great. You know, it's only three reasons that Morris Brown College survived over the past 20 years. Number one, God.
Right,
Number two, the African Methodist Episcopal Church. And number three, the alumni.
right,
Morris Brown would not be here today if it were not for our phenomenal alums.
right,
Our alumni love Morris Brown College. They are our number one promoters of Morris Brown College. They were here for 4 to 5 years and can go out into the world and really be our strongest promoters. And so I was so grateful for the alumni to come back and be a part of this podcast series to talk about their experiences, to talk about how it was on the yard back in the 70s, 80s,
right.
90s, early 2000s. And so just to hear them speak about their experiences was very, very heartwarming. And I learned a lot, right, from hearing some of the stories. So we were very, very grateful that they participated.
Right. Definitely. It's definitely.
It's exciting. This is my first HBCU experience. So just
Who did you come from? Sorry, who did you come from?
I went to school at Arkansas State University.
Okay, got you.
So this is my first time, working for HBCU or being associated with HBCU at all. And so it's just exciting to see the love that people have for their school, the pride, the energy, the just the excitement. So I'm just so grateful to be a part of this.
Definitely. Dr. Allen.
Oh man, the alumni group plays such a huge role in my success, in my position, especially when it comes from the recruitment side. So we have like a recruitment training every month, and now they're like in a competition to see who's going to be, the number one, recruiter, and how many students get accepted. So California has always come in so strong, and
Wow.
now the DC, Virginia, Maryland, they come in. Now Detroit, now the Florida crew coming in. And so when I came to Morris Brown College, the alumni base was probably the first group to approach me and say, hey, I want you to have this book. So they gave me the first 100 years of Morris Brown College, which is so hard to find. And so I cherish that book, and I make sure that I really read it and understood the history of Morris Brown. And I tell them all the time, I came from an HBCU background, but when I tell you that I only saw my alums homecoming, graduation, and Founders Day, but Morris Brown College, oh my God, when they say they bleed purple blood, they bleed purple blood.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I could tell the energy, right? Having a conversation with alums, it was very clear that there is a rich history and a rich love, right? And Morris Howell was the powerhouse, right? It wasn't one of the powerhouse; it was the powerhouse,
right?
Those times, right? And it's a pleasure to see you guys as a team, Dr. James and your team, really pushing it back to that powerhouse, right? Which I believe that it will be, right? And I'm always a stickler when it comes to building things, right? And building things from an idea. Of course, this is not like an idea that you guys are creating, but I think you guys are molding back the idea, right? It's like a startup, right? It's like if a company got acquired, right, and a new team comes into play, you kind of have to take those pieces together and add your own little vibe and flow to it. to make it your own and to really push it forward. You know what I mean? So it's amazing to see that in real time, right? Dr. Allen, I have a question for you. I know you mentioned that you guys are having the competitions and really pushing for the, you know, student enrollment and things of that nature. Well, two questions, right? What's the strategy around pushing for that thought process of student enrollment? And then also, like, Cali has always been a focal point for a lot of HBCUs, right? Why is that? Like, for even us at Tuskegee, we have a strong, big Cali presence at Tuskegee University. Why do you think that is so?
Well, for one, you know, the alumni group. When I first got here, Dr. James, you know, kind of sat down with me. He said, "Okay, these are some things that I feel is going to be very helpful for you and be successful in your position." And one of the things he said, go after the alumni group. Right. They're going to be your back pocket for success, right? And so at first I'm like, okay, no problem. So I kind of like reached out, but I didn't really like dive into it like I should have, right? And then all of a sudden, you know, I kind of like just said, let me just have a orientation training. And all of a sudden, it's like the world is opened up. He's like, I told you, Dr. Allen, you should have done it a long time ago. But Monte has been such a huge success for me, right? And so now, I think the first year we grew about 1,000%. Then the second year we grew about 1,500%. And it's all because, you know, the alumni poured so much back into it, especially when it comes to the legacy part, you know, because they're like, okay, my first child might not came to Morris Brown, but my second child is coming to Morris Brown College, right? And so the competition is so amazing because even on this training, you know, and I kind of started, you know, I kind of like be nitpicking, you know,
like competition, ain't no wrong with competition, you know, it's got to pride up a little bit.
Right. I'd be like, now California doing that. California brought in the second largest enrollment, 20% of my enrollment last semester. Wow. So I kind of edged it on to get everybody else fired up, right? And the fact that, you know, California doesn't have any HBCUs out on the West Coast. And I teased myself, I said, why do people fly way across the desert to come right here to Atlanta? But one of the things I love about it is that Morris Brown is in such a great location, being right here downtown Atlanta, right by the Falcon Stadium, and you know, a lot of the other excitement things going on downtown Atlanta. So the alumni base saying, you know what, we want our college to succeed because we went through this 20 years of not being accredited. Now, guess what? We're back and we're stronger than ever. And so I think from California, for one, California is saying, well, man, our cost of living is so expensive out here. But when they look at Morris Brown tuition costs, they're like, wait a minute. And I've had several parents to go to Clark for a tour. And then they said, well, let's just talk about Morris Brown College. So they came over to Morris Brown. And after they did a tour with Morris Brown, learned about our history, then they hear about our cost of tuition. One mother said, well, my daughter, she really wants to go to Clark, but I'm making this decision. She's coming to Morris Brown. She said, and guess what? She is a junior now. And she said it's the best decision of her life. And she's so glad her mother made her say, you come to Morris Brown College, because in Morris Brown, it's a family. And a lot of times you got to figure out, coming from New York and California, most everybody like to themselves, right? But Morris Brown, because it's a family, like, man, this is a family environment right here. So I think that's why so many of them from like California, New York, are coming to a school like Morris Brown College, be part of a big family.
No, and I want to dive into the family aspect of things, right? Family is always key for HBCUs. That's one key denominator across the whole spectrum of HBCUs, right? But as I've been paying more attention, I think the family for Morris Brown is very tight-knit, right? Very close, very connected, right? Dr. James, my question for you is, like, you guys are clearly grown, right? You are doubling digit numbers and 1,000% growth. How do you maintain that energy as you get back to the growth that Morris Brown was, right?
Well, the first thing is I want to say, you know, Morris Brown will never be the Morris Brown of 1970s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. It's going to be different. This whole premise of the hard reset was not just some fancy branding, marketing title. It's what we had to do. We had to start anew to, like you said, kind of like start over, fresh, to create a new revise Morris Brown. Now we're going to keep the traditions. We're
Right.
going to still be Morris Brown College, but it's going to be different a little bit. And so what we're trying to do right now is really expand, number one, our academic programs,
Right.
scaling our academics here at Morris Brown, expanding and scaling our student life. Just this past year, we brought back several fraternities and sororities. We brought back Alpha Phi Alpha. We brought back Sigma Gamma Rho. We brought back Delta Omicron Music or sorority. We brought back Golden Key Honor Society. We brought back our dance troupe, our modeling troupe, our esports team. We're really, really working on not only being a strong school academically, but making sure that we have that campus life, what people knew Morris Brown College for, that we bring that back and revive it. And we're continuing to grow. We're bringing back more fraternities. We're bringing back more sororities. It is my goal that we bring back the world-renowned Marching Wolverine Band. Most people know Morris Brown College because of the movie Drumline.
Yeah.
I want to bring back the band.
Right.
And so these are just some small things that we're doing. Of course, like we've already said, we're in downtown Atlanta, hot Atlanta.
Right.
The city already has so much to offer.
Right.
And then, of course, we're in the Atlanta University Center. So not only are you at Morris Brown, but you got the sister institutions, Morehouse, Spelman, Clark, and the others. You know, our students go over there and have a good time, and their students come over here and have a good time. We just had a cookout this past Friday, and I'm like, who are these Omegas out here stepping on my campus? And I found out it was Omegas from Clark over here, and I didn't even know, right? So, you know, it's a big family, not just at Morris Brown, but within the Atlanta University Center as well. And, you know, like Dr. Allen said, we're the most affordable HBCU in the city of Atlanta. So not only do we have a lot of excitement, a lot of growth, but we're the most affordable. And so we anticipate continuing our growth as we not only move from the hard reset to the resurgence, but we then scale what we're doing here. Last point I want to make is not only are we doing great things, but we this fall of 2024, anticipate starting our very first fully online degree programs.
Okay.
We had online classes, right? COVID made folks have online classes. But this fall, with the help of the Arthur Blank Family Foundation, we're starting our very first fully online degree program. So we'll be able to not only have students here on campus, but enroll students throughout this country.
So question around that, like how important is the online classes? Like how important is that to the growth and the scaling of Morris Brown into the future?
It's very important. One thing that a lot of people forget is that Morris Brown, during the bankruptcy and the loss of our accreditation, we lost 38 acres of our land. We lost our dorms. We lost a lot of our buildings and infrastructure. And so online learning is critical to our restoration, right? Not only because of the loss of those items, the loss of our land and those buildings, but because students don't want to, all students, let me say it this way, all students don't want to come to a campus.
Right.
A lot of students want online learning, and we're already seeing it right now. We get a lot of phone calls and saying, we want to attend Morris Brown, but do you have an online program? Do you have online? Because I live in Texas. I live in New York. I don't want to move. I don't want to come. I just want to finish these 2 or 3 or 4 years and earn my credentials so I can get promoted on my job and the like. So online learning is critical, not just to Morris Brown, but for higher education in general.
Right.
People want the online learning component to be a part of their educational careers.
No, I think that's amazing because sometimes, you know, for HBCU, we take longer to add certain infrastructures within our HBCUs. And I'm a big firm believer that innovation is key. And that's just a thought process in business in general. You can't become a scalable business without having the true thought process around how you want to innovate and how you want to connect, right? And understand that the culture is shifting, right? How we communicate with the students is shifting, how we connect with them is shifting. So we have to meet them where they are, right? You know what I mean? And have both thought process, because you may have students, like we still have individuals that are still bouncing back from COVID, especially students, right? They may not feel comfortable to come back to campus because of the social thought process, right? So it's good to have that balance. And I think that allows you guys to kind of still increase enrollment on the digital side, but also increase enrollment on the physical side as well.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I think that's a beautiful thing for you guys to be doing, man. It's really amazing to see this in person, right? As you guys are building and growing. Like I said, I love skill. right? I love scale. I think we should always think big. It's like, how do we get things to the top? So one other question I have, I know you mentioned affordability. This is a question to everyone. Um, is affordability something a part of you guys' differentiator as Morris Brown, connected to all the other HBCUs, or as a business? Of course, we know all businesses increase over time. What is you guys' thought
Yeah.
process around that?
Here, I'll jump in on this one. So I am 46 years old. I've been out of college for what, 25, 27 years, and I'm still paying back student loans,
Ooh,
right? Student loan debt is one of the hottest topics in this country right now. So
right,
much so where Biden's trying to forgive debt and others are trying to block it and so on and so forth. And so
right,
as we were going through the hard reset and coming out of bankruptcy, I was having a conversation with my board and I said, listen, one of the components that Morris Brown is really positioned for is we can charge whatever tuition we want to charge.
right,
And wouldn't it be great if, number one, we were affordable, and number two, if we have this goal that our students graduate with little to no debt?
right, right.
And so we had the conversation and we settled on one of the most affordable tuitions in Atlanta at
Right.
$8,500 a year.
Wow.
I mean, and then when you add onto the component to the fact of that a lot of our students are Pell eligible, and Pell monies, my director of financial aid is here. Pell monies are monies that don't have to be repaid.
Right.
These students, if they don't take out these big refund checks, right? I know I took mine out in college, but if they don't take out these big refund checks, they have the options to graduate with little to no debt. And so that absolutely was a strategic chess move, not just pro student, but just to be able to position students to be able to graduate and be able to start their lives without being saddled down in debt.
No, I think that makes perfect sense. I think that's we have to look at it from a different perspective, a different lens, right? If we want to start having conversation around shifting the wealth gap, right, it has to kind of start with the conversation around education and what that costs, right? So it's like we can't say we're gonna bust the number out for education, but then we want to do the wealth gap. You know what I mean? So it's I think that's something that's very key, and that's a strategic thought process to do in order to make sure that your students are successful. Because at the end of the day, it's like we want to make sure our students are successful and in position to win, right? And have the opportunity to win. And a lot of times it starts with money. Like, let's be honest, like we can have all the education in the world, you can be a doctor, you can have all these accolades, but if you're paying $10,000-$15,000 a month for loans, like how are we changing that thought process?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, Ms. Stephanie, I have a question around you. I know you say you came from a PWI, and now it's your first experience in HBCU. I asked this question with very to pick your brain. Like, what are some things that you have learned from like that experience at PWI that you can bring to HBCU to maybe make it more effective and efficient?
I can say from a work experience, working at a PWI, we had more resources.
Right.
I would say that you have more resources, and a lot more training and things like that. So I feel like that's what's been beneficial to me, just the resources and the training that I've been through at those institutions just brought a wealth of knowledge to Morris Brown College. So
amazing. We do have a question from the chat, so I do want to kind of bring in one question from the chat. So one person said, does Morris Brown accept the GI Bill and yellow ribbon participant? I'm not sure what that is, so maybe I can
I'll give that one to Dr. Allen.
Actually, that one is Mrs. Gumby.
Yes, we are approved to accept the GI Bill. Yellow ribbon, we have not been approved yet, but we're working on that.
So educate me, what is the GI Bill?
So it's a veteran educational benefit to help veterans and their dependents go to college.
And what about
pay for it? So yellow ribbon, we really don't need at Morris Brown College. So what yellow ribbon is like the school agreeing to pay if the veteran uses all of their VA benefits,
Okay.
then yellow ribbon kicks in, and where Morris Brown agrees to pay that difference. Because our tuition is so low, our veterans really don't ever get to that point.
Right. And I have another question for you, Stephanie. This is more of a
Yeah.
fun. This is not a funny question, but it's a funny question because this is that's within HBCUs, the financial aid is always something that is sometimes frowned upon, right? At times, right? When it comes to
Not
students.
at Morris Brown.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. That's what I'm getting to. So, can you talk a little bit? I'm not sure if there's always been this notion around how difficult it is to communicate with financial aid and doing for students at different HBCUs, and it can be very difficult, right? And frustrating, right? And clearly, Mr. Dr. James has cleared it up a little bit, but I want to kind of hear your perspective around that and like how you guys continue to be different and shift that perspective that's been something that's been in the community for a minute.
Yes, for sure. So it's not just HBCUs. I can tell you that. I worked at other colleges where financial aid is always the hated department.
Right.
It's usually a department that is understaffed. I'll be honest with you. Usually understaffed, limited resources, with a lot of work, and so we are very overwhelmed. However, one of the things that I pride myself in is just being very efficient, very organized, and very detailed. And so I have come up. I've learned. I'm sorry.
I can see by the office.
Oh, so I've just learned to be able to multitask. Is one of my strengths, and work well in stressful situations, and to just be able to. It's really all about just processes.
Right.
Processes and procedures. And so I've just been able to manage that with my team. Dr. James have been very supportive. I don't feel understaffed here. And so we have the adequate amount of staff to get things done. And so, I'm just very efficient, and we get financial aid done before classes start. Dr. Allen will tell you we don't play about that. So we just don't let students start and then be in a bad situation where they then have to figure out how they're going to pay for school. We've figured out a way to do that before they start school. And so then those, refund checks come a little earlier than other schools maybe. And so our students are happy. I really don't get complaints about financial aid at Morris Brown College.
Well, that's amazing. I know I know I didn't have any issue because my mom was like, that's not something that she'd even worried about. But a lot of times parents are not as educated around the financial side of things when it comes to college, right? And I think that might play a role too in the correlation back to the frustration around financial aid, right? I think it's both, right? It's not just the school, it's the parents not being educated, it's not the parents not being organized and things of that nature. So right. I think that when I got for this is that, of course, you guys are being very efficient, right? But I think it's important for parents that potentially want to bring their students to Morris Brown. I think it's about you guys being as organized as possible, right? Understand the process, right? Really understanding what this looks like and how this can affect not just that moment, but the entire duration of a student's life, right? Because that one mess up can just change the thought process of not being able to attend anymore. Then you got to transfer, and a lot of times when people transfer, they don't go to the school they want to, so then that becomes dropout. So it can be a long, drawn out thing. So I think it's all about education at the end of the day. For parents to be as educated as possible, for students to be as educated as possible, right? And I think to your point is that having those processes in the beginning, right, to help students succeed, right? That is the most important thing. Is like we want to make sure our students succeed, and I think it's important. It starts with the financial aid and the organization thought process there. So I hope all my HBCUs are listening right now. You know what I'm saying? These gems, you know what I mean? I think it's very important that we understand that it's a business, right? But in order to run the most efficient business is to be efficient, right? And that's not just in just doing homecoming. That's through all aspects of the business, from financial aid to administration, through all these different things that are happening on our HBCU campus to make sure that not only is the culture thriving, but our students are thriving, right? And that starts as soon as they walk through the door during freshman year and freshman orientation, right? And I think we have one more question, and from there, I'm going to ask for last minute remarks, and we'll be ending it. Last question is, What is the proper channel for businesses to reach out to provide services for the school?
Well, it depends. It depends on what you want to do, but I'm always available. All of our information is on the website. Please go to our website, morrisbrown.edu. Our phone number is there, emails are there. Reach out depending on what it is. If it's something dealing with the institution as a whole, they can reach out to the president's office. If it's something dealing with fiscal affairs or financial aid, they can reach out to Stephanie Gumby or Shermanita Carter. If it's dealing with enrollment and admissions, they can reach out to Dr. James Freddie Allen. And so it just depends on what it is. But we here at Morris Brown College, we pride ourselves on customer service, responding within 24 hours. So you can just call us, email us, text us, or even drop in on us, and we'll be able to make sure that we handle your needs.
Amazing. Something I would love for you guys, for students, maybe on the fence when it comes to attending Morris Brown. Give me a little something. Give me a little something.
So I always say this, what most students are always surprised is the fact that a vice president takes time to come out to just speak to them. Even like yesterday, I had a walk-in yesterday, and I came out and spoke to the mom and the daughter, and the mom was actually a graduate of Morris Brown College. She's like, man, I've never had a vice president to come out. And I tell them all the time is that if you want an institution that has such deep, rich history, when it says that we are a safe haven for all hungry souls who just have a thirst, that we're going to feed you everything that you need in order for you to be successful with all the resources. We're going to feed you that. So if you want to come to, let's say, smaller size classroom where you're going to get that one-on-one learning, education, where we're going to make sure that you succeed, then Morris Brown College. If you want to come to a school where you're going to have a name, where we're going to know who you are and not by a last digit social security number, then Morris Brown College, right? If you want to come where administrators have an open door policy, where you can come and see the VP of financial aid or myself or even the president, because he's definitely out and about and say hello to the students, then come to Morris Brown College. And of course, if you want to come to an institution where you can get a good quality education, you're going to be able to graduate and possibly be debt free as much as possible and not be like Dr. Allen on over $80,000 student loan debt, come to Morris Brown College.
That's a great one. Who's next? Give it to me.
I'll just say that, Morris Brown is a historical institution. We've made history. And one of the things that I have learned is that people love being a part of history. Literally 100 years from now, students will be able to say, yeah, I was a part of the restoration class at Morris Brown College. 100 years from now, they'll be able to say, wow, I graduated from a low-cost HBCU that literally came back from death, right? An institution, again, we've already said low cost, hands-on learning, smaller size classrooms, affordable. The premise of having phenomenal campus life, the premise of the fact that we take veterans, international students, we're growing, we're going to Africa, we're going to the Bahamas, we're going everywhere. Come be a part of this family at Morris Brown College, where again, we will feed you and give you all the tools that you need to be able to go out into the world and to compete. And just come and have a good time with us. You'll enjoy it.
They said it all. They said it all.
Anything to add, Stephanie? Good.
No. It's hard to come after them too.
Well, no, I'll add to as well. I mean, I think for anyone that's thinking about Morris Brown, I think that you definitely consider for I'm an alumnus of Tuskegee University, always advocate for Tuskegee, but being in this journey with you guys for the last 8 weeks has been amazing, and I'm a number one advocate for Morris Brown. So I think that people are on the fence. Don't be on the fence. You're right in the middle of the city, the heart of the city. It's a great way to start your journey and a great way to learn. I think these are the best times to, it's always those small schools that give you the best, right? I went to a small school myself, so I understand the importance of having that small village. My mom always used to say that it takes a community it takes a community to raise a child, right? And I think that's something that's always come with me throughout just life in general. That community plays a major role in the thought process of pushing forward and making things happen. So I am super excited for what you guys have built. I think you guys are doing an amazing job. So if no one has told you guys that, I'm telling you that. Keep going, keep pushing. You guys are inspiration and motivation. Not even just to me, but I'm sure people that are watching, people that have seen you guys' journey and bringing Morris Brown back to the height where it used to be. And I'm super proud, right? So I just want to give you guys your flowers that you guys are doing an amazing job. And thank you. I think this is amazing. It's nothing but great things for you guys in the future. So yes,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Last thing I want to say is anyone who's watching, who's still on the fence about, where they want to go to school, we are still enrolling. A lot of people have closed off and shut down enrollment for the fall. We're enrolling right now. All you have to do, it's a very simple process. Go to our website, morrisbrown.edu. Again, that's morrisbrown.edu. Click on the admissions button, fill out the application. It may take you 15 minutes to fill out that application, and then one of our enrollment people will get in contact with you. We're still enrolling. Again, Morris Brown College, from the hard reset to the resurgence.
Amazing. I love it. So guys, for everyone that's viewing, we appreciate you guys being on this journey for the last 8 weeks. Historically Black Sense is very, very proud to have partnered with Morris Brown to curate this amazing experience and conversation. Community is everything, and being able to tell stories is the importance to get people to understand the value of what individuals are building. So from Morris Brown to Historically Black Sense, we present Hard Reset to the Resurgence. Thank you so much, and have a good one.
Thank you.
all.
Enjoyed it.
Thank you.